Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Shai Shem Rakakwadash. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of you elect out there. Shalom to you all. I'm going to entitle this video, this is based upon this video that I watched only not even a minute, and I said I had to make a video on it. And I watched the rest of this video. You just watch this video as well. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video Back to the Basics, the 400-year prophecy. And the sons of God in Genesis chapter 6. And let's see where else we go with that. ... So I'm just going to let it. Anyway, it's Jacob's Trouble. And I saw this last night, but I was asleep. I couldn't watch it. Jacob's trouble is over. We are entering Esau's trouble. Actually, we're not full into Jacob's trouble yet. All hell's gonna break loose. Two precepts that come to mind, two chapters, 2nd Ezra 15, 2nd Ezra 16. That goes into Jacob's trouble, and it's getting like that, and it's gonna get far, far worse. And Jacob's trouble will turn into Esau's trouble. When at the end of Jacob's trouble, everything's going to shift over to Esau. But Esau is going to get caught up in it. But Jake is mainly going to get caught up in it. That's when all hell breaks loose. That goes into the MOTB, which I see it, the majority of our people taking it for whatever reason they have to take it. And that's when we're going to find out who's real. These various different camps have just been popping up. They'll watch a couple of videos of former One Westers, whether it be IUIC, ISBK, GMS, and others. Like you got Sakari originally from GMS. One Body's originally from IUIC and so forth. But then you got these other camps that never started out with a former One West camp. They just got a sign, went out there, memorized some scriptures, and went out there and did what they had to do, So, I don't know how many camps subscribe to the MOTB being a micro C-hip or the microchip, but I know there's at least two major camps that don't agree with it. They're not on the same page as GMS or even Sakari or even Genesis, because the leadership of Genesis, the leadership of Sakari, Al-Azhar, they came up under GMS, and so when we started teaching about the mark of the beast, their spirits resonated with it and said, "Yeah, that makes sense," or however they saw it, But you have IUIC and ISBK. You also have you have Wi-Fi. I don't know how many other groups. But those two major groups, IUIC, ISBK, say there's no mark. It's talking about an embargo, sending all of its forms. Bishop Nate constantly changes it. What is he going to change next? What is he going to do next with the whole MOTB thing? He just figured out by reading a Christian a publication that the word mark means charagma. Oh, it means charagma. Because Yuri read it wrong. Charagma. No, it's charagma. Well, wait a minute. We've been saying it for years. We've been saying it since we got on YouTube. So we're talking about we've been saying that since 2007. But he never said that. They said charagma. Ain't no charagma. It's sin. It's all of its forms, and it's an embargo. And this. So now he sees it, but then he flips it because he's following a fucking Christian. So he gets a lot of his information from Christians, and don't question what these Christian publications are really saying. Oh, it's talking about Nero and the coin, and no, it's not talking about that. If you understood the timetable, when you come down to the 13th chapter and 11th verse, really from the 10th verse on down to the 18th verse, that's way after the death of Nero. And that time from the 10th, 11th, 12th verse all the way down to the 18th verse, it's talking about now. It's talking about this lifetime. It ain't talking about no Nero. So you stupidly Open up a crate. Oh, that makes all the sense in the world. Even though we said it first. Anyway, I'm going to let this play. So you see, well, I'll let it play. Forgive me for ranting.
Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. This video is going to be response. Jacob's trouble, or this dude says Jacob's troubles are over. We are entering Esau's troubles. And that's the tentative title for right now. So this is in response to a comment that was brought up on the comment board. This is from the brother Yashalam's. From his page is GMS Watchman. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. I'm sure you have by now. All right, but that brother got a popular channel. But GMS Watchman, you know, he did this video the other day that was entitled, "This is Why Women Are Gonna Flock to the Men of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai," which featured this video. If you've seen it or not, I don't know if you did, but these jakes robbed this girl in broad daylight.
Yeah,
right?
It says, menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. Now, the 7 used to say that that's talking about these stick-up kids, and you can use that, but really when it says menstruous women shall bring forth monsters, it's talking about a lot of deformity. You didn't have deformity. Jake didn't understand deformity until they got over here, until Esau came up in here. Jake, well, it's a one situation with Saul's son, but that was very rare because there's deformities in babies because of the food you eat, the lifestyle that you live, the drugs that you take, and there's a whole lot of factors as to why, they're not properly cleaning themselves. They have the man and woman having sex when she's on a period. And that's, a period is when it's like you're cleaning out the filter. You go to the gas station. You go to oil change place. You change the oil. Keep that same oil in there. It loses its viscosity and it breaks the engine down. That's why you see women, they'll have like a 2-year-old Mercedes, whatever, and the engine's knocking. And I say, I bet you a woman owns that car. And sure enough, a woman owns that car. She gets the car. She puts gas in it, the cheapest gas she can get. Don't change the oil, and it knocks, and the engine's gone inside of 2 years because you didn't change the oil. So guess what? A woman also has to change her oil, meaning her blood, and that happens naturally. So you stay away from a man. Not for you guys out there, 7 days. Nope, not 7 days. It's from the time she gets a period till the time it stops. If she's bleeding for 4 days, how many days do you stay away from her? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 days. 11 days. Women don't have the period for 1 day. Maybe some do, some don't. I don't. Some 3 days, some 4 days. But it stops inside of a couple of days. So that's when the clock stops. So you guys are going off on it because you don't understand the law. Anyway, Mrs. Women shall bring forth monsters. Talking about deformed babies, but it's also talking about these gremlins. Now this is a woman. This is a sister. This is a dude, Jake, and he got what look like a shotgun. And he will blow her head off if she only got $20. This is why you have this law in place, which is in Deuteronomy 21 verse 18. Not so many words, if you find a hard-headed, stubborn boy that won't listen to his mother or his father, then take him to the judges, and the judges to stone him to death. And when does that occur? When they're right around 12 years old, 12 on up. 12 on up. Well, they reach 17, they'll beat the shit out of y'all. They'll fuck y'all up. So, back then they got, when you're 12 years old, that's when you became a man. That's when you became a man. So if you didn't want to do nothing with your life, then the parents said, we got to go to the judges and delete this nigga. And you stone him, you gather him together, he try to fight back, he'll be all rebellious, and he'll be dodging them stones, but one stone's going to hit him, and you're gonna get up and try to run. They're gonna follow. I could just imagine that, brother. You know, you get hit with a stone, you bleed, you go to running, and they following you. A whole group of men following you with stones in their hand, and then they hit you in the foot, you limping, you trying to get one, they get away, they push you off, they stone you, then it comes a point where you stone so much that you just fall down and you faint, and then they bury your ass, they bury you in stones. And that's what they did to the Apostle Paul. So you can understand. Remember when the Apostle Paul had the outer body experience? He went up into the heavenlies, into paradise. He got that because they stoned him 14 years before he made that statement. He really died. When they stoned him to death, he actually died. But the Most High put the spirit back in him. Now you have people that say that they had near-death experiences. Really, you had death experiences, but the Most High put your body back. See, there's a tether to your soul. Once that thing is snapped, then you go into the spiritual realm. You know, you do what's called which I used to do it, not myself making me doing it, but I used to experience a thing called astral projection, when your spirit will leave your body, but there would be a tether to your body, and it would lead you back into your body. So you do it. You try to do that. There's a brother that did that. He was astral projecting, and them demons got him, and he was all. And then it was good because he was big headed. All them brothers, because he looked like an ancient prophet. You know, he looked like an ancient, and all them the seven, they were praising this guy. And I wasn't seeing it. I said, I'm not impressed by this dude. All of a sudden, he reading this books on astral projection. He was a Levite, but he talked like Jake, and he was real tall. And then he just bugged out. And in my mind, I said, I didn't hate the dude. In my mind, I said, that's them demons, man. Come to find out, he was reading books, on witchcraft, because he came out of that traditional Haitian. His parents was all into voodoo, which is the left-hand side of spiritual power. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let me just read this, and I'm going to let it go. Jacob's troubles are over, brother. We are entering Esau's trouble. What do you think the 400-year servitude was for? Now, first of all, the 400-year servitude took place during the time of Egypt. That's when it took place. The 400 years has nothing to do with this 400 years. 1919 to 1619 to 1917, 1970 or something. I'm sorry. No. 1619 to the present, which was supposed to be 2019, right? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 2019. So you had Israelites on the web, on YouTube and other platforms talking about, it's 2018. One more year, we'll be out of here. And we were telling y'all, ain't nothing gonna happen in 2019. You ain't gonna be delivered. So, because that's not talking about that. You had Vocab Malone make a video about the Hebrew Israelites going off on the 400-year prophecy. But then on the thumbnail of the video, he's got me in the video. So I said, let me see. I said, well, let me look at that video. Now, when he opens the video, he says, oh, Tahar doesn't believe in it. Well, why you put my picture there? That's fucking clickbait. Anyway, you got a lot of Israelites that don't know what's going on. And they're going to get caught up. They're going to get caught up when they're going to have to make that decision whether they're going to take the chip or not. So let's listen.
Using weapons and whatnot, and the brother went into a video about it. Anyway, from the comment board, this person, Big Homie Judah, another genius, he says, Jacob troubles are over, brother. First off, the term is not Jacob troubles. It's Jacob's trouble. Okay? And it means what it's
like. There's a bank in England called Lloyd's Bank. And this brother that was part of the G unit, which he was a Simeonite, but he grew up around Jake. His name was Lloyd Banks. So he changed the name of that bank in England.
Sounds like Jacob's trouble is a time like never before in which Jacob is going to be in a lot of trouble. But let's finish it. He says, Jacob's troubles are over, brother. We are entering Esau's troubles. What do you think the 400 years servitude was for? Okay. And the 400, and really there's no such thing as a 400 year. Okay. That whole thing. Or you know what? Even though it says that.
Oh, no. There was a 400 year prophecy. That was the prophecy that Abraham, the vision that Abraham saw concerning Mizraim. That's what the 400 years is talking about. Now, some brothers say, well, but it's also in the New Testament too, in Acts chapter 7. When you read Acts chapter 7, oh morons, I had to say that. When you read Acts chapter 7, that's Stephen going into the history, and when he speaks about the 400 years, matter of fact, let's go to that. Let's go to that real quick. Back to the basics, back to the basics, back to the basics. Acts 7. Okay, I want to go right to the point. Okay, that's in the 6th verse. And the Most High spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land. So what is Stephen talking about right here? He's talking about Mizraim, the land of Mizraim. And this is a good thing to hit when you're dealing with a Christian, to see if he's really studied. You ask him about, get him to say Egypt, right? And you say, well, what was the actual name of Egypt? Because Egypt was given the name by the Greeks. And see if they say Mizraim. If they don't say Mizraim, then they're not. You got somebody that really not deep in the scriptures. Now scholars would know that. They would tell you that's Mizraim, and that they should bring them into bondage. This is Egypt, Mizraim, and entreat them evil 400 years. But wait a minute, they was in there for 430 years. Yeah, the first 30 years they were treated. The Pharaoh that loved Joseph, not so many words, he had died. You had a new Pharaoh. Now some of them say Ramses II, and I believe the one that loved Joseph was Ramses I. I mean, you can argue that point. I'm not a Egyptian scholar of Egyptian history. Now you got Jake that'll pop up and say, no, it was this, it's Ramses, and it was and pretty much it's something that Esau gave you in school. Esau came that you Jakes wouldn't know nothing about Kemetic had it not been for Esau. So when you see an Edomite ask him to turn around, so you can kiss him in the ass and entreat them evil 400 years. Matter of fact, let me do this. Give me a second here. Anyway, I'm not gonna read it. And the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge. That's talking about America, bro. It's talking about the white man. No, it's talking about the ancient Egyptians, Mizraim. Said the Most High, and after that shall they come forth and serve me in this place. That's talking about, no, it's not talking about America. Because as you read down, 8th verse, and he gave him the covenant of circumcision. When did they get this covenant of circumcision? During the lifetime of Abraham. And so Abraham begat Isaac and circumcised him the 8th day. And this is going to lead up to them going into so-called Egypt. So this has nothing to do with America, the 400-year prophecy that's talking about 1619 to 2019. No. Somebody says that, I know they're not deep into the scriptures. And I'll take them, see how deep they can go, take them in deep waters. You know, I might ask them something concerning Daniel chapter 11, which they don't know. They clueless. They don't know nothing about Daniel chapter 11. I might go on to Daniel chapter 9. Know nothing about that. Daniel 8, Daniel 7, Daniel 2, they might know. Then again, they might not know. So we know we can talk to somebody and ask a couple of questions. We can find out what level of knowledge as far as the scriptures is concerned is he on. We can find that out we can ask certain questions to find out where your level is at. So anyway, let me come back to the video.
Or 400-year prophecy is bullshit, okay? And let me rephrase it. The 400-year prophecy, which you people try to say 1619 to 2019, or however you try to make it be 400 years.
And you know what kills it? 2019, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That's 6 years past.
The 400-year prophecy in Genesis was dealing with our captivity in ancient Egypt. Let's prove that real quick, real fast here. I'm going to bring up a couple of scripts on that. Let's go to Genesis 15 and 13, is it? I don't know if that's right. We'll see. I'm going to hit these really quick here. Yeah. So this is Genesis 15, 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. That was talking about ancient Egypt.
But wait a minute, brother. They was in Egypt for 430 years. You going off on that. The first 30 years, the Pharaoh treated Joseph and his family well. Because it was Joseph, through his divine intervention, that made Egypt great. It made it a power.
In the time of Pharaoh, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they shall come out with great substance. So this is the thing. A lot of you keep talking about this 400-year prophecy, but that was talking about ancient Egypt. Let's go there. Egypt was glad. Let's bring that up. It's not talking about now. When we get taken out of this captivity, we're leaving with nothing. We're leaving with nothing. You ain't going to have great substance when you leave out of here. And this is only for the elect, by the way. This is Psalms 105. Right? And I'm going to start. Just bear with me here. Let me see where I'm going to start at. So let's go up here to Psalms 105, verse 6. It says, he sent Moses his servant and Aaron whom he had chosen. They showed his signs among them and wonders in the land of Ham. Where's the land of Ham? What you call today Africa. And then it goes into the plagues. He sent darkness and made it dark, and they rebelled not against his word. He turned their waters into blood and slew their fish. Their land brought forth frogs in abundance, and in the chambers of their kings. He spake, and there came diverse sorts of flies and lice in all their coasts. You get the point. Let's jump down. Verse 36 says, he smote also all the firstborn in their land, the chief of all their strength. He brought them forth also with silver and gold, that there was not one feeble person among their tribes. Egypt was glad when they departed, for the fear of them. He spread a cloud Salakia, let's go back up here. Psalm 105 verse 6. He smote all the firstborn of their land, the chief of all their strength. He brought them forth also with silver and gold. That's the great wealth they will leave with, great substance. And there was not one feeble person among their tribes. Was glad when they departed. Fear of them fell upon them. That's what the 400-year prophecy was dealing with. The great substance is silver and gold. When we leave out of Babylon, you're not taking anything with you. Look at this stuff in the house. This is Luke 17. All right, I'm going to jump in here, verse 28. Luke 17, 28. Likewise, also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. Right, the nuclear destruction is going to come, and it's going to destroy this place. In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop and the stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Remember Lot's wife. You're not going to take anything with you. You ain't going to get no stuff. The Lord just going to beam up the elect. You ain't coming to take nothing out of the house. You're not going to look back. You're not even going. We're not going that way. The Lord's going to beam us up. Okay? That's how we're going to escape out of here. In the chariots of the Lord. So that 400-year prophecy is not talking about America, Babylon the Great. And we've been over that a lot. Now, as for Jacob's trouble being over, a period of time known as Jacob's trouble. Specifically, this one is talking about an end time Jacob's trouble. Sure, Jacob been in trouble. But right now, like we brought out before, you can literally go and buy, you can get Jordans, a PlayStation 5, eat anything you want, get a steak, go to this place, go to that place. How the hell you think you're in trouble right now? That end time trouble, that's going to be a persecution. And we'll read it in the scriptures. And you can see that this individual, big homie Judah, fringes in the middle of the shirt. Just weird, man. You Jakes out there, you got to, look, if you ain't a prophet, you really shouldn't even be talking, man. Just be quiet. Just learn from the videos. You don't got to say that much or nothing. Now listen to this. This is Daniel 12, verse 1. We're not even approached. We haven't come into that period of Jacob's trouble that's in the scriptures. You know, that end time Jacob's trouble. This is Daniel 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered. Are we delivered yet? Have we been beamed up? Did the Lord come back to get us? Did he take our enemies? The answer is no, no, and no. Everyone that shall be found written in the book. You see? So you haven't been saved yet. So how the hell you saying Jacob's trouble is ended? You tripping, man. And that 400 years, you know, like we told you, that was Egypt. But us coming in captivity and slavery, that was punishment. But that's got nothing to do with Jacob's trouble. Matthew 24:21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. You see? So we haven't entered that time yet, like I just got finished talking about. Jacob's trouble is going to be a time like never before, and we already read that. Let's go to Jeremiah 30. This is what it says. And it backs up what's written in Daniel 12. So let's read, and I'm trying to, okay, I see it. Jeremiah 30, verse 6. I'm going to start at verse 4. It says, and these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So we're gonna be saved out of Jacob's trouble. If Jacob's trouble was over, we would have already been saved by the Savior, and he has. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck. And
yeah, this is a great precept, Jeremiah 30:7, because it actually says, it says the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. That's when all hell breaks loose. Well, Donald Trump said when he's inaugurated on the 20th, he said he gonna come out running, man. He gonna do a lot of things really quick because he's been talking about it since he's been declared the new president. He's not officially in office until he takes the oath. So he said he's gonna raise hell day one. He gonna get all those migrants. You know, he's gonna send them back. He said if Hamas doesn't release the hostages, the whole Israel Hamas thing, Gaza thing, we're showing you who he backs. Well, they back him actually. You know, I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, you're gonna be on the side of them. So he said, if y'all don't release the hostages, the day one when I get in office, he said all hell's gonna break loose, and we're gonna see. He said a lot of things, so we're gonna see. Hey, remember he said about Hillary. He said day one when I get in the office, I'm locking Hillary up. Then day one he said no, the Clintons are good people, they're friends of mine. So, you know, you people thinking that this guy is God's gift to mankind, you're gonna find out he's just nothing but an insider, right? So now when you go to this right here, Jeremiah 30:7, it actually says the time of Jacob's trouble. Remember, Bishop Nate said there's not going to be a time of trouble, and then years later he said, if you listen to me closely, old morons, I did. No, you did not, because that video is still up when you said that there's not going to be we're going to lollygog, walk right into the kingdom. Well, how do you explain this? So you had to reverse yourself. Now, when you go to like any of the commentaries, they all, well, most of them, if not all of them, they all point to Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. Daniel chapter 12, verse 1 does not, you're not going to read the phrase Jacob's trouble or the time of Jacob's trouble. This is the only place you're going to read it. But we know that immediately, matter of fact, let me do this. I'm sorry. Let me do back to the basics. Okay. Jeremiah 30 and verse 7. We're not in the midst of Jacob's trouble, but things been happening since 2019 up until this point, 2025, 2024, that you'd say, nah, that doesn't happen in America. Remember all them riots over George Floyd? You know, the whole country just went buck wild. They went crazy, and you would say, damn, man, this is not America. This is a whole different country, you know? So let me go to the commentary here. And I guarantee, I'm almost positive they will mention Daniel 12. Let's see. As a matter of fact, let me do this. Let's see what, did it just mention Daniel 12? Wow. Let me try it this way. I'm surprised they didn't mention that. Let me see. Let me try Daniel. Daniel chapter 12. And let's see what happens with this commentary. Oh, there you go. There you go. A time of trouble. That's Daniel 12 and 1. The expression seems borrowed from Jeremiah 30 and 7, where also Israel is spoken of as saved from it. So it's talking about the same event. Daniel 12 and 1, or Daniel 12, the first couple of verses, and Jeremiah 30 and 7. Back to the basics, back to the basics, back to the basics. Because when you run into people, you're out there on the highways and the byways, you run into people that's going to ask you these questions. Anytime you see Captain Azariak have a debate with these Christians, it's always basic stuff. Christians just come on a basic level. They, like I said, they never, forgive me for this rant, they never go deep. They'll never say, well, let's have a conversation or a debate or a discussion on, let's say, Revelation chapter 13. They won't touch that because they don't know it. I say that all the time. I say that damn near in every damn video. They're clueless when it comes to Revelation 20. They're clueless when it comes to Revelation 18, Revelation 17, the whole book of Revelation. They're clueless when it comes to most of the books in Daniel, the prophetic parts of the books, and the rest of the prophets. They will never go into anything, or if they do go into it, they'll make it up. They don't understand it. And you can trap them. If they say this means that and such prophecy, you can say, okay, then explain this because this is related to that. So what does that mean? You got to learn how to, you don't have no mercy with these goddamn Christians, man. Just overwhelm them and speak over them, overspeak them. If they say that's rude, then they say, well, wait a minute, the Apostle Paul was rude. So what you talking about? And if you don't like it, we don't got to debate. I come the way I want to come, and I'm controlling the narrative. I keep telling y'all that. You don't have to have no long fucking conversation with a goddamn Christian. You know, as soon as they come up, the Lord came for the Gentiles are Israelites. The Gentiles in the New Testament are going to receive salvation are Israelites. For example, Cornelius is a Gentile. He's not an Israelite because he's not an Edomite, because if he was, he would never be referred to as a, it said he was a just man. I believe that's the actual wording, a just man. But anyway, like I said, you're dealing with Christians. You're basically dealing with this with the basics. I'm sorry. Let me come on back.
Will burst our bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, but they shall serve the Lord their.
Bonds is to hold you to something. You use glue to bond two things together. So they bound us or bond us with. First of all, they had. The slave master owned you. You were property, right? But you were physically bonded by chains and yokes of iron. Especially if you escape, they'll have you walking around with a yoke of iron. So when you try to escape, you run into the woods, you're going to get caught up in trees or whatever the case may be. It's to slow you down. So the bonds that we're under now are paper bonds. These adhesion contracts. Social Security, every one of you niggas got a Social Security number. Every last one of you got a Social Security number. And with that Social Security number, the birth certificate, the Social Security number, there's birth certificate, Social Security number, driver's license, your jobs, credit cards, everything that you deal with in life, which is part of the buying and selling, you need that you have to have a Social Security number, driver's license, which are adhesion contracts. Now, the ultimate ID for everybody on the planet will be a universal ID, which is the MOTB. We keep telling you knuckleheads that. You keep bucking up against what we're saying. You ain't gonna buck up against what we're saying when it actually comes to pass. When you get that letter, oh, you get Mr. Smith, you got to go and get your chip today. So you fly by night Israelites, you ain't gonna know what the fuck to do. Is there a GMS camp in my neighborhood? Nigga, it's too late. You gonna have to fend on your own. But when it comes, we'll do videos and explain what, they're gonna, do I have to take it because they gonna lose I got a good job. Anyway, forgive me. Let me let it go.
Power and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, said the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed.
I will save thee from afar. What does it mean, I will save thee from afar? We're far away from our land. We're far away from our land. We're over here in America and scattered around the world, but the place is America. The focus is America, not the Solomon Islands, not Papua New Guinea, not Nigeria, not Kenya if you go there, not the UK, not Australia. The focus is America. Look, ain't nobody concerned about who's going to be the next president of Australia. But anytime there's an American president, the whole fucking breaking news around the world. Oh, everybody's hey, the night of the elections, right? Kamala versus Trump. The whole world that have TVs and stuff, they were watching it to see who's going to be the next president, because the U.S. When the U.S. sneezes, everybody else gets a cold. When the U.S. does well, the whole world seems to do well. Or whether there's going to be wars or whether they're going to come against you. Look, Trump is coming with a whole different spirit than Biden. All right? So this is the place, my man. This is the place. You got to go to Papua New Guinea. You got to go to the Solomon Islands. You got to go to the 7 churches of Asia Minor because they sitting there waiting for us. No, nigga. No. Talking about if you ain't going to establishing something in another part of the world, if you ain't righteous, where did you get that from? What cracker jacks box did you get that from?
From the land of their captivity, and Jacob shall return and shall be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. You see that? So,
because we're going to be in the kingdom, and we're not going to be afraid of Gog and Magog, as you call it.
So when Jacob's trouble is over, we're going to be delivered. Matter of fact, Jacob's trouble is going to start a period of severe persecution of the Israelites, and the Lord is going to literally have to come and stop Jacob's trouble and save us out of here. You see, that's why the scripture said that.
Yeah, we're going to be saved in the midst of Jacob's trouble when all hell totally breaks loose.
Matthew, if the Lord didn't shorten the days, there should no flesh be saved. And there's all kind of hints and clues. Right after it said Jacob's trouble, he's going to break Esau's yoke off our necks. You're going to see the Lord. You're going to see King David.
Paper yokes. But you got people in jail that have actual yokes on them.
And the Most High going to bring us back from all them different nations we've been scattered. It goes on here. For I am with thee, said the Lord, to save thee. Though I may.
And see, once we get saved, there's going to be reversal of fortune. A change of roles. Role change, as they say. Where they put us in captivity, right? We're over here to serve just like in Egypt, Mizraim. We were there. Why were we in Egypt? It said the Pharaoh would not let them go, not so many words. Because they said, look, this is free labor. We got people, we got to have them work. They don't like it. We beat the shit out of them, kill them, put some fear in their heart, and they'll keep working. And that's what happened in America and different places around, mainly America. The great slave trade. Can you imagine opening up a business and you got a 1,000 workers, and you don't got to. All you got to do is feed them and put them in a damn barrack. You don't got to. You don't got to. Medically. Well, medically, you might take care of them to keep them working, but all you basically got to do is feed them the most inferior food, put them in a damn barrack somewhere, and have the motherfuckers work 15 hours a day. And when they die, don't worry, we got another nigga coming in. Go back to Africa and get some more niggas, man. And that's what made America great. The South made America great. That's why you had a lot of small hats go down there. So, that's the history. Then, now Negroes think they free. They ain't free. You've been emancipated. Emancipate means to hand over. Manual. There's another word for that. But emancipation means to hand over. You were never free. You're never free. You handed over from the slave master Reynolds to the U.S. government. And you became slaves to the Social Security system. And you're ultimately going to become slaves. And see, white people think they're better than Jake, right? Edomites. But guess what? You're slaves too. Instead of freeing the so-called black slaves, they enslaved the whole country. Read the 13th Amendment and 14th Amendment. Dumbasses. So when the Most High frees us from slavery, we're not just going to be free, we're going to enslave you. He that leadeth in captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience in the faith of the who? Of the Israelites. The saints are Israelites.
Make a full end of all nations whither I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. So we're going to be retrieved, right, or brought back from all different nations where the Lord scattered us, the elect of the Israelites. We go to
and the majority of them is coming out of America, because you got elect in England, in Australia, different parts around the world, but the great number is going to come out of America. That's why the gospel's got to come out of America. That's why your focus is on America. When we first got on YouTube, 2007, you had all kind of dudes, camps all over the place. Mainly in New York. I'm talking about New York. You don't see them that much no more.
Isaiah 11:11. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again, the second time, to recover the remnant of his people.
You know what? Let me look that up. I'm sorry. Let me see what they say about that. Because we know that this is talking about now, right? I'm all over the place, but Isaiah 11, verse 11. Let's see what the commentator says. Let's go to Cambridge. The Lord shall set his hand again, supply the second time, prophecy, exile, Egypt, the remnant. Cush, right? They're telling you, right? I tell you that Cush is Ethiopia, Elam, Babylon, Hamath, the gathering of the dispersed Israel. It is, of course, impossible to disprove that in Isaiah's time, scattered Israelites were to be found in all the countries. Exactly. So it's obviously talking about now, mentioned at the end of Isaiah 11:11. Some might have been included among the captives whom Sargon settled in Elam, Babylon, and Hamath, fugitives from the northern kingdom. Okay, the northern kingdom. See, they don't know. The scholars don't know that the northern kingdom came over here to the Americas might have taken refuge. I'm sorry, these letters are moving on me. And considerable numbers of Egypt and the fall of Samaria and the slave trade. Well, they talking about the slave trade back then. The slave trade might have carried small groups of Hebrews to the remote regions, but the language here seems to imply a Jewish dispersion on a large scale, and the only wholesale deportations that had taken place in Isaiah's time were those of northern Israelites to the Assyrian Empire. Northern Israelites to the northern kingdom to the Assyrian Empire. So they know that they have the history. The scholars have the history. They know that there was a split, that somehow the northern kingdom disappeared, right? And it tells you right here, 2 Kings 15, 2 Kings 16, right? They even mentions 2 Kings 17. On the other hand, the references exactly fit the circumstances of the post-exile period, when large colonies of Jews were known to have been spread over the land. Here, I'm sorry, bring this down. Here enumerated. It says a prophecy of the return from exile. But they don't mention America because they don't know. The scholars, the super elite scholars, they know where the northern kingdom went. They know that the Latin tribes, North, Central, South America, we always go through this, are the Israelites. A lot of these religious people, when they first got over here, I'm talking about the 1800s, 1600s, they knew that these people over here on the west side of the world were the Israelites. And I'm just singing to the choir. So they know that the northern kingdom left, that they were not in Israel. Where did they go? They came to America. It only makes sense. And these people know. Anyway.
Which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt. And
I'm going to just say this. We know all these scriptures, man. We know when the brother goes, we already know it. If he says, let's go to Isaiah 11, you're already reading it in your mind. Right? But this is the thing that keeps you from leaving this truth. You see guys that come in there, they're on fire, then the fire goes out and then they fall out because they're not reading the scriptures. And you got to read. Well, I already know that scripture, but you got to go through it. You got to read it, got to memorize it. You got to meditate. King David said to meditate upon the law, meaning meditate upon the precepts, which is the scriptures. You got to meditate on this, man. And then also, you remember this because you're teaching it. When you're teaching it, it refreshes your memory. That's why I said part of this video is also known as Back to the Basics. So let's listen.
And from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath,
and when will this take place? It's getting ready to take place.
From the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel.
This is happening right now. So that makes us the prophets.
And gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. So we got to be all beamed up, saved, taken out of America, Babylon the Great, which is going to be destroyed, by the way. Let's go there, Rebel.
And then we're going to set up works camps and so forth. We're going to put them people into slavery. And there's several scriptures on that. We're not just going to be in the kingdom, la-di-da. We're going to put the other nations in captivity. They're going to be our slaves. If you want to beat them to death, you can do that. If you want to work them to death, you can do that. The only time you can't mess with them is on the Sabbath or any of the holy days. The Sabbath day, the new moon, the feast days. They get a break. They're gonna be looking. They're gonna be looking forward to the Sabbath. one more day for the Sabbath. And on that day, you're going to be, tending to your wounds. Because you're going to get fucked up. Real talk. You are going to get fucked up.
Revelation 18. See, Babylon the Great got to get judgment.
And most Christian so-called scholars, including Wes Hoff, he talking about I ain't debating nobody this year. Deacon Nakar want to debate him. Deacon Nakar beat him too because he don't know the prophecies. Wes Huff knows a lot of things. He don't know the prophecies. That's some Babylon the Great. What's the woman that said on Scarlet Colored Beast? For that matter, what's the Scarlet Colored Beast? He don't know. He don't know. And trust me, he knows about us. Okay?
Jacob's trouble hasn't hit yet. Revelation 18:20. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High hath avenged you on her. When the nuclear destruction hits America, Babylon the Great, that's the Lord avenging our blood on this place.
And we're going to see it. Psalms 91. We're going to look down and see it, and we're going to praise. That's also in Isaiah, Revelation 15, Revelation 16. So we're going to see the destruction. Only with thine eyes shall behold and see the reward of the wicked.
Hasn't happened yet, and that happens at the end of Jacob's trouble. And a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more.
So this place is going to have to be taken out violently, in a violent manner. Give me a second. Give me a second. See all this stuff that's happening now? This crazy shit that's going on? It's all the prelude to the complete end of destruction, deliverance of the sons of Israel. And yes, I said sons. I didn't say children. Anyway. I pulled out my list entitled Destruction. Anyway, Genesis. I got to go into Genesis 6. I said I was going to go into that. Give me a second. Let me just try something. Let me see if I'm correct here. Okay, Esther. Esther 9. Esther chapter 9. Let's see what that says. I already know what it says, but the Jews destroy their enemies, right? That's Esther chapter 9, verse 1 to 5. Now in the 12th month, that is the month Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution, the day that the enemies of the the Israelites hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Israelites, that's the word there should be Israelites, had rule over them that hated them. The Israelites that had the rule over them that hated them. They hated us. You know what I'm going to do? Just let's see what these people say. So this place is going to go down by thermonuclear destruction. Babylon the Great shall be engulfed in flames. The elect will be delivered. And then the next thing they're going to experience, these Edomites and these other nations, they're going to experience work camps. And getting their ass whooped. When the king commanded... Okay, overthrow of the Jews' enemies. The story declared and by the way, Esther is not a future prophecy. Esther took place. We know it's talking about Haman, but I wanted them to say that. They didn't say that, which he was an Edomite. I wanted to see if they would say it, which they didn't say it. The Israelites gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of the king of Ahasuerus, which is Xerxes in the movie the 300, the big tall guy with all the jewelry. That was him. He was known by two names. To lay hands on such as sought their hurt, and so everybody that sought to hurt us, they're gonna be jacked up. And the scripture said, do my prophets no harm, right? The heavenly Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua referred to us as the apple of his eye. And no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all people. The fear of who? The fear of us fell upon the people. When you go to Ezekiel 37, they stood up a great exceeding army. And when you go to Revelation 11, it said and they stood up and great fear fell upon them. And when they were in the wilderness for 40 years, and they went through the territory of Edom, it tells you in Deuteronomy, the 2nd chapter, that the Edomites were afraid of them. So the Most High said, don't do nothing to them. Just keep going. Because Esau was left there to be what? For the Most High to use Esau in the latter days. And all the rulers of the provinces and the lieutenants and the deputies and the officers of the king helped the Israelites. These were other nations, because of the fear of Mordecai fell upon them. For Mordecai, the star of this account is not Esther, it was Mordecai. All right? For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out throughout all the provinces. Just like everybody taught them Christians, they all know about the Israelites. They all, this is a famous thing. Hey, I'm watching Joe Rogan right now. He knows about he spoke about the Israelites. A couple of days ago, was it last week sometime, maybe on a Wednesday or on Thursday, Alex Jones mentioned the black Hebrew. I talked to the black Hebrew. He ain't talked to no. He passed our camp when we was on 33rd Street. This is about 2008, I would say. Something like that. When we first got it, we was on 33rd Street, right next to the Madison Square Garden. We were talking to Luke Rudowski, which I didn't even know him at that time. He said my name was Luke. At that time, he's talking about he was Luke Skywalker. He had a cease and desist not to use that name because that's a trademark name owned by Disney at this time. But Alex Jones had passed by and looked at us, and I didn't see him, but Apostle Gabar said he saw him. Now, had I seen him, I would say, hey, I would, hey, we used to always run into Curtis Sliwa. We ran into him like 20, 30 times. And certain times he came up and actually talked to us. Curtis Sliwa gave us his calling card. He said, this is my number, you can call me. Maybe we're going to, Sometimes he look at us like he want to beat us up, and the other times hey, what's up? Now I asked, I'm going into something else. Now I asked Curtis Sliwa, this was years ago when we was on 34th Street. I said, Curtis, can I ask you a question? He said, yeah. I said, what is the mark of the beast? He said, it's the microchip. And I looked at Gabar and I said, you see? He even knows. He said it without blinking an eye. Because he said it on a radio show many years ago. He mentioned the mark of the beast. He said, that's the microchip. And I told him he's an Israelite. I told Luke Rudowski he's an Israelite. And he even said it to this day. He said, them guys said I was an Israelite. Because they associate Israelites with black Hebrew Israelites. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to lay hands on such as sought their hurt, and no man could withstand them. You can't stop this truth. The gates of hell, the Bill gates of hell shall not prevail. For the fear of them fell upon all people. And all the rulers of the provinces and the lieutenants and the deputies and the officers and the kings and helped the Israelites because of the fear of Mordecai fell upon them. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out throughout all provinces. Now, a province is a state. So the whole country, there's 50 provinces. There's really more than 50 provinces, but what is the term? What's the term? You get the word contagious. Contiguous. The contiguous states, meaning all the states that are touching each other. Texas touches a state. Oklahoma touches another state. Like you have Hawaii, which is a state, but it's not contiguous to the United States. So everybody in America knows about us and people around the world. For this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater. Thus the Israelites smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword and slaughter. So when we got the upper hand over the Edomites, because Haman wanted us to be destroyed, he wound up getting hung with his sons, right? And the rest of them Edomites, we were chopping them up. I might want to read this in the, Thus the Israelites smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword and slaughter and destruction, and did what they would unto those that hated them. That's some powerful stuff right there. Here it is. The 10 sons of Haman, the sons of Hammedatha, the enemy of the Israelites, slew they, but on the spoil laid they not their hand. I mean, I'm not going to go all into this, but look at these words. 5th verse. Thus the Israelites, that's the word there should be Israelites, smote, you can say kingdom of Judah, smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword, that means death, chopped their head off, chopped them up, and slaughter and destruction, and did what they would unto those that hated them. So anybody that hates us, you're gonna get destroyed. So let's open this up. Okay, smote their enemies with the stroke. I want to look up the word slaughter. Slaughter and destruction. Harag, and that means to kill or slaughter. Harag. Anyway, the Spirit, I'm going into something else now. Esther 8:17. I already know what that says. Esther 8:17. Now, the Jews, which are Israelites, had light and gladness and joy and honor. And in every province or every state and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment, which was Xerxes, and his decree came, the Israelites had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. Right, which is Purim. Purim is not a Sabbath, it's just a feast day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. Now, this right here, for many of the people of the land became Judaized, meaning they like you become Hellenized. They started following laws that didn't make them an Israelite. Okay? For the fear of, right here the word is Judaize, and right here the word is Jews or Judah, fell upon them. So when somebody comes up with that, see, you can become a Jew. No, you can become Judaized. You can follow the Jews. Like you, just no different than being Hellenized or Romanized. And get you a couple more. Oh, this is a good one. Back to the basics, back to the basics, back to the basics. Psalms 50 and 8. I already know what this is going to say before I even go to it. I will reprove thee for thy sacrifices. I'm sorry. Psalms 2. I'm sorry. What am I doing here? Psalms 2. And 8. I declare, I'm sorry, 7. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. Yahweh hath said unto me, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. This is Yahweh talking about his son, or to his son. Ask of me, and I will give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. We're going to own the earth, right? The headquarters is going to be in Jerusalem. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them. Shall meaning future. This is getting ready to happen. Dash them in pieces. We read in Esther, slaughter, the word slaughter, which is harag, like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, and therefore instruction in John, blah, blah, blah. Deuteronomy 7, total slaughter. Don't marry them, don't take concubines, just totally, completely destroy them. Micah 5 and 7, that's one that we hadn't read in a while. Oh, this is a beautiful list. This is old school list, man. Micah 5 and 7. Matter of fact, Micah 5 and 7. Let me go to that in the not in the King James, but in the Micah 5 and 7. I'm gonna go to the NLT. Then the remnant left in Israel will take their place among the nations. They will be like dew sent by Yahweh, or like rain falling on the grass, meaning none of them is going to be able to escape, which no one can hold back and no one can restrain. The remnant left in Israel will take their place among the nations. They will be like a lion among the animals of the forest, like a strong young lion among flocks of sheep. You take one lion, take 100 sheep, who's going to win? The lion. And goats, pouncing and tearing as they go, with no rescue in sight. With no rescue in sight. So we're going to get the upper hand. 9th verse, the people of Israel will stand up to their foes. Number one foe on the list is the Edomites, which they say, well, the Edomites are done away with. We don't know what the Edomites is. The Edomites are black people, by the way. They still live in Africa. The Edomites are the Nabateans, and all their enemies will be wiped out. In that day, says Yahweh, I will slaughter your horses and destroy your chariots. I will tear down your walls and demolish your defenses. I will put an end to all witchcraft. The elites of the government, the elites, they're all warlocks, witches, whatever you want to call them. So now let's go into Wisdom of Solomon. Now, I wanted to get into this. This goes into detail when the Heavenly Father brought plagues against the Egyptians. It goes into detail. Now, the elder read out of Psalms 105, which is a good chapter that goes into how they got cursed and plagued. But this goes deep. This goes deep. And like right here, the 5th verse, no power of the fire might give them light, neither could the bright flames of the stars endure to lighten that horrible night. And they felt the darkness was so great that they felt the darkness. It's like the darkness was gripping them. That's a heavy darkness. That could have been like a black hole or something. You want to put a definition to it, but it was a certain darkness that came over them. So when you lit a torch, you didn't see nothing. You didn't see no fire. When you looked up into the sky, you couldn't see no stars. You couldn't see the moon. You couldn't see nothing. So, the Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is going to do some major damage on this place, on this system. But first, we have to get that fame, and we're infamous right now. So, Wisdom of Solomon 5. Wisdom of Solomon 5. Okay, it doesn't give me a verse. Let's read a couple of verses. This is one of my favorite precepts too. Then shall the righteous, which is the elect, man stand in great boldness before the face of such as afflicted him. Us being, why are we over here? We are pulled over here against our will to serve slavery, our foreparents, and made no account of their labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear. There goes fear again. Ezekiel 37, Revelation 11. Great fear fell upon them, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of what? Of his salvation. The strength so far beyond all that they look for. How is our salvation coming? By way of the ships, the UAPs, the UFOs, the chariots, whatever you want to call them. They're going to beam up the elect of Israel in the sight of the other nations, in the sight of Esau. So you guys have become disenchanted to this. You're not studying. You're not watching the videos. You're not studying. You're not doing videos. You're not meditating on the scriptures. You're not fellowshipping with brothers. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, weeping and gnashing of teeth. Matthew 24. Just to give you one other precept. Shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb proverb of reproach, talking shit about us, right? We fools, this is talking about the elite. We fools account his life madness. He said these crazy, bugged out black Hebrew Israelites, they don't know that we're going to rule the whole planet. And his end to be without honor. Our end will be with honor. Who is he? How is he numbered among the children of God? How are these people the Israelites? That's why these small hats say lawyer up. They get these secular so-called Jays that don't keep the Sabbath, that don't keep, they might do a Seder plate or whatever. They do what the fuck they want to do. But they lawyer up to come after us. But that shit's going to stop. And his lot is among the saints, the holies. In order for you to qualify as being a saint, you have to be an Israelite. You have to be ultimately you can be an Israelite, period. But the saints refer to the elect as of right now. Therefore have we erred from the way of truth, because you kept that lie going. So we're countering that lie with truth. And the light of righteousness have not shined unto us, and the sun of righteousness rose not upon us, because we're under the curses. We worried ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Yeah, we have gone through deserts where there lay no way, but as for the way of Yahweh, we have not known it. Because there was a time they all slumbered and slept. I mean, this is a beautiful chapter right here. Oh, Numbers 24. Don't let me get into Numbers 24. Balaam talking to Balak said, look, let me tell you what these people are going to do with the last days. They're going to destroy you, and they're going to destroy all the people in this area. That includes Edom, all these different people, right? Yeah, this is a pretty damn good list. I put this list together a while back. Yeah, I got Isaiah 14, Isaiah 24. Oh, Isaiah 24 is the work camps. We're gonna put them in pits. Then we're gonna give them work instructions to go out there. We're gonna have labor camps. So they're gonna be working. They're gonna be, when they're waking hours, they're gonna be working. Whatever we make them do, they're gonna do. And if you feel like kicking one in the ass, you go right ahead. You be my guest. Oh yeah, this is a nasty. This list right here is nasty, man. This is all on destruction. I forgot what I wrote. This was years ago. I put this little list together. But anyway, let's come back to this. Let me get ready to close. So that 400-year prophecy is referring to Genesis chapter 15, which the elder went through. This Revelation 18, another one of my favorite prophetic chapters. It's very simple, but it says a whole lot. You know, it says a whole lot. So every once in a while, I like to sometimes bring out certain verses or read the whole chapter because it's relatively short.
At all. And the great millstone represents what? The nuclear destruction. Let's go real quick to show you that the day of doom is really when we delivered out of here. That ends Jacob's trouble. King James.
Right, and at that time, the time of Jacob's trouble, thy people shall be delivered. Are all our people going to be delivered? No. Only the elect. And don't think for 1 minute that guys like Joe Rogan, and I mentioned that in this video earlier, this guy, Tucker Carlson, he knows about us. Because he even mentioned it. I talked to the Israelites, you know? And he spoke to us. He came to us. And that video's still up. And he was sounding nervous. He said, but why am I going into slavery? He kept saying that. And he prides himself off of being a Christian, you know? So he knows about us. So if he knows about us, Joe Rogan knows about us. If Rogan knows about us, Alex Jones and the rest of them, the elite, know about us.
Let's get it. Just bear with me here. All right, so we're going to get 2nd Esdras. And that's literally the end of the world. See, Jake coming on the comment board with all your opinions of some shit you learned from the bootleg-ass Israelites who don't know prophecy. Prophecy, the spirit of prophecy, is the autograph of the Savior on his men. Them other carnal-ass groups got fringes all over, fringes on the shoulders, fringes on the, everywhere, on the side of the garment, fringes around the collar. You're doing all that being over righteous.
Yeah, they made that a fashion statement. They don't even know why the Most High told Moses to make fringes. I guarantee you they don't even know. My question is, why did the Most High tell them to do fringes? What was what happened? What act happened to make the Most High say, okay, wear fringes? Because when they first got into the wilderness, they wasn't wearing fringes. There was a point where they wore fringes. So why did the Most High tell them to put fringes, of all places, on the border of their garment?
You don't know what you're talking about, Jake. Just be quiet. 2nd Esdras 7:42. He answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory doth abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time and the beginning of the immortality for to come.
You know what I'm going to do? Let me just look up the word doom. Let me see how many times doom comes up. Doom. Did I write this motherfucker right? Let me see something. I'm sorry. Did I write this right? The day of. Let's see what comes up. As a matter of fact, let me do this. You know what I'm going to do? Let me just go over here. Maybe I spelt that wrong. Bear me for a minute. Bear me for a minute. I'm going to let this pray for a minute.
7:42. He answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much. 7 being over righteous on the side of the garment, fringes around the collar. You're doing all that being over righteous. You don't know what you're talking about, Jake. Just be quiet. 2nd Esdras 7:42. He answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory doth.
Okay, that's right. This is Old English. There's an E there. I just want to see how many times doom. That's doom, but Old English, they got the E there. I don't know why it doesn't come up. Give me a second. Right, doom, right? D-O-O-M-E.
Therefore have they prayed for the weak. But the day of doom shall be the end of this time and the beginning of the immortality for to come, wherein corruption is past. See, so the day of doom is the day when the nuclear destruction hit Babylon the Great. Jacob's trouble has not even come yet in the severe form that, we read about in Daniel. We read about in the book of Daniel, also in two places in Daniel and Jeremiah, and in Matthew. This is Revelation 2 and 10. This has got to happen before Jacob's trouble ends, and we're going to be delivered from these things. Revelation 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. What? Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. See, when Jake talked that shit about Jacob's trouble is over, you're really saying that you ain't got to suffer and go through nothing. You think that just because you're an Israelite, the Lord going to save you like he owe you some shit. No, Jacob's trouble is to purge out the wicked from among Jacob. All these Israelites all over the place. The Most High ain't even brought through the severe wrath and punishment yet, which he's going to bring it. He's going to cut off all these different wicked Israelites. The only one's going to be left is the elect. That's it. All the rest going to be purged out. That ain't happened yet. Like I said, right now, how the hell is it that, you all on the avatar, got the pea coat on, the fur on the coat, fringes on, and matching with your, Jordans or Air Force One. You think your ass been in Jacob's trouble. No, you haven't, man. The Most High said that Jacob's trouble is going to be so severe, or Yahweh Shai said it, that if he didn't shorten the days, no flesh would be saved. You ain't suffering right now just because, one of your baby mamas didn't answer the phone when you called, whatever. Who cares? Revelation 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. We got to suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. This is talking about end time prisons, FEMA camps. You see? FEMA prisons. They're going to persecute Jacob on a high level, right? And a lot of our people are going to die and be put to death. It's really going to happen. That hasn't happened yet. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, the so-called white man Esau, shall cast some of you into prison that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. This must happen. The end time persecution is going to happen, and you can't avoid it. Only way you won't be persecuted is if your ass already in the spiritual realm. You see that? This is Revelation 3 and 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. That hour of temptation is when the mark of the beast is made mandatory, and people going to be tempted. You're going to be tempted with no longer walking with the Lord. I'm talking about the Israelites. You see? And also that hour of temptation, what? It's also going to be upon, and the tribulation, it's going to be upon these other nations. They're going to go through a lot of tribulation and shit themselves, but really it's for Jacob. And that's why the Most High said Jacob is going to be saved out of Jacob's trouble. I had another precept now. Let's get Malachi. Is it Malachi 3? I can't think of it right now. Never mind. So you see, Jacob's trouble is not going to be ended till the Savior comes and he ends Jacob's trouble. It's also called perplexity in another place. Let's go there. A great pressure or pressing upon the house of Israel. This is Luke 21, verse 25. It says, there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. What's this word perplexity mean? Let's go to it and look it up. I think it's pleonexia, if I'm not mistaken. Distress of nations with perplexity. No, I was wrong. It's aporia.
Strong's G 640. Aparia.
Aparia, the state of one who is in perplexity. A state of quandary, perplexity. Let me see if we can get another further definition for perplexity. Perplexity, inability to deal with or understand something complicated or unaccountable. An entangled state, confusion.
And that's what Esau is in. All these things are happening on him, and he's perplexed now. Like this thing out there in L.A. We know the backstory about the L.A. fires. Any of you guys reading, jumping the gun, talking about, see, that's the Most High did that. No, the Most High didn't do that. Somebody else did that. But that's what you guys get for, see, the Most High did that. The Most High brought down the World Trade Centers. Stop jumping the gun. Now, he mentioned Malachi. He didn't mention the chapter. But when he mentioned Malachi, since we're dealing with destruction, I thought about Malachi. Matter of fact, I'll go to it. Malachi. Matter of fact, I'm going to go into it in the NLT. Malachi 4. NLT. First verse, the coming day of judgment, which is getting ready to happen. Yahweh of heaven's armies, or the Lord of hosts, says the day of judgment is coming, the ultimate judgment, burning like a furnace. On that day, the arrogant and the wicked will be burned up like straw. They will be consumed, roots, branches, and all. Now, what is a root? When you chop a tree down and you don't uproot the tree grows back. So the Most High is going to uproot this devil. So he's never going to come back into power. But for you who fear my name, the Son of Righteousness will rise with healing in his wings, and you will go free, leaping with joy like calves led out to pasture. Right, let me go to that in King James. I want to read the second verse in the first two verses in the King James. If you ever been on a farm, they open the gate and they let the cows and the calves and the sheep run free. They're happy. I've actually seen that close up. It says, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven. What is that talking about? Ask Wes Huff. What is that talking about? Wes, Mr. Huff, he don't know. Vocab don't know. And now you got Vocab calling himself trying to break down the other. About a week or two ago, he going into Daniel 7 and Daniel second chapter and Daniel 7 chapter. He got the first three beasts correct, which all these Christians say it. But then when it comes down to the beasts diverse from the rest, they will say Rome. But then it says in Daniel 7 that the Ancient of Days shall sit, and the Son of Man shall come to him with the angels, with thousands, 10,000s of his saints. So when did that happen to Rome? It never happened to Rome. It's going to happen to Rome this time. We're still in Rome all over again. We're still in Rome, and I proved that this is Rome all over again. And all that do wickedly shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave neither root nor branches. So they're not going to be able to build back up. But unto you that fear my name, what is the name of the Most High? Yahweh, and his name, and the Son's name is Yahweh Shai. Shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. And let me look up the word stall. When you let the calves and the cows frolic around, and I'm gonna go to the farm and I'm gonna show you that. I'm gonna send y'all that never saw it. I saw it. We're on TV. So let me look at the word stall. Because you gotta close them in so they don't get lost or escape. Stall of animals. But anyway, this is beautiful. This is beautiful, man. Listen to a little bit more. I'm going long.
complexity. You see that? That's what Jacob's trouble is going to encompass. Severe persecution. Severe.
Yeah, perplexity is the ones that's going to be perplexed are these Edomites in these elite positions. They're not going to know what to do. They're going to have one problem. Well, that's Amos 5, right? And among Jake that doesn't know what's going on. You know, I keep going to the mark of the beast. When that comes up, you're not going to know what to do. And the ones of you that talk shit about GMS, you're going to start going to all the GMS videos.
Severe wrath, but it's going to be coming from the Lord, but he's going to use these Edomites. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then they shall see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws nigh. Right.
So this is not the time to get weak, to become disenchanted, to fall off. A guy looked at you the wrong way. The brother didn't salute you the right way. You needed $10. The brother didn't give it to you. Maybe he didn't have the $10. Okay. Any little boy, your woman left you, so you left. You blamed it on us. Hey, well, guess what? You do that, you turn your back on this truth. Luke 9:62. You turn your back on the plow. Then all that work. Well, I did 20 years. Most I ain't dealing with your 20 years. He don't give a damn about your 20 years. That's all in Ezekiel. All his righteous works, the Most High will not remember. Okay, let me see some GMS Babylon. The fallen comment. Okay, Jacob's trouble, Bishop Nathaniel, full video coverage. The water, brother. The water. The water. So yeah, that's it. That's the actual video. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and bring that up. Let me see some Elder Apostle Dahar ask the $1 million question. I gotta watch that to see what this is all about. Let me just click on that right quick.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. As always, first I want to give all the praises and the glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and to His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Double honors to our apostles and to the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, and shalom to the whole.
I remember this brother 12, 13 years ago. He didn't have one spot of gray on him, and now he got the grays. He had a jet black hair and beard. Now he got the grays. And he came up on us in the camp. He was at the camp. This was six, 7 months ago.
Hopefully, let brothers and sisters of the house of Israel. As the scripture says, many are called, few are chosen. Many are called, few are chosen. All praises and glory.
I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but you already got the information, right? Okay, IUIC Jacob's trouble is great tribulation.
So we're gonna do a quick response to this video here, right? That Bishop Nathaniel did, right? A couple years ago, he did this video, just so you know, all right? He did this particular video here. And it was called Jacob's Trouble is Great Tribulation. Now, the reason why we're calling this Meddle Not With Them, the IUIC, that are given to change, right? That are given to change. Because there was a time, right? For many, many, many years, the IUIC, Bishop Nathaniel, the head of the IUIC, had explicitly said there is not going to be a Jacob's trouble. There is not going to be no tribulations. There's not going to be no trouble for the children of Israel before the second coming of the Lord. We're going to go straight from what they call the mark of the beast, which is, they claim it to be sin and hegemony, to the war of Armageddon. This is what he was declaring. Now, what we're going to do here, we're going to show you, all right? We're going to show you what he says now and what he said back then. And then I want you to be the judge. You can be the judge. You can decide for yourself, did Bishop Nathaniel tell a white lie? Did he completely do a 180 on his doctrine? Did the IUIC completely change their doctrine regarding Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7?
Now, he's going to show you the Yachanan. He's going to show you Elder Yachanan. He's going to show you, I'm going to do it backwards. This is when he first says it, and we get on him about it, right? Scripture says rebuke them sharply, right? Hey, look, we rebuke Vocab Malone when he go look both Vocab. You went off and it was so, what makes you so special? So I'm gonna go to this one first, because he denied that there's a Jacob's trouble. Then he turned around and called anybody that said that. If you listen to me closely, old morons. And that's what that's why you gotta have receipts on people like this. So I'm gonna do it this way. I'm gonna go to this brother. I believe he died. He's a pastor, radio host, or whatever. I believe it's down in Jamaica.
Chapter 12, verse 1. Jeremiah 30, verse 7. The time of Jacob's trouble. Listen carefully.
Got a dude with a fade, high and tight. He's lined up.
Carefully to what the Jamaican pastor is asking them. Now, this video here we're looking at took place. This interview took place 8 years ago. All right? 8 years ago. So I want you to listen to what he said then to know to what he's saying now. And this is why we say, we at Great Millstone, from the apostles going down, we do not change the doctrine. We do not change the doctrine. We stick to what we was taught and we move with the time. We do not change the doctrine. But listen to what he says here now, family, all right? What he said back then.
Good.
We, Deuteronomy 28 showed that we would have gone through slavery.
Yes.
We'd have gone through oppression. What is next to happen to us? Liberation through Christ, or will there be something else, another form of slavery that we will go through, another tribulation that we'll go through before Christ established the kingdom? Yes, what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand. What's going to happen?
Will there be, yes.
What is going to happen before Christ makes
returns?
his second
Is there going to be another
There's
persecution?
going to be war between the nations.
Yes.
Okay? The European Union will crumble. Okay? They will despise and fight against Babylon the Great, which is the United States of America. And it will burn America with fire.
So Europe is going to go to war
Yes.
with America.
Yes.
Yeah. But in terms of us black people now, will we go through another kind of slavery, another the tribulation that slavery was representative of?
Give me Noah, Matthew 24. You know what I want? So
In other
Christ,
words, what will happen to us immediately before Christ returns?
I'm going to show
As a
you.
people, as a race.
As a race.
Yes.
You know what I want right
Give me
there?
that quick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Matthew 24. Come on.
Yeah.
As it was.
Yeah.
You got it for me?
Yes. Verse 38. Matthew 24, verse 38.
Start at 37.
37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that...
Just want to show you something right here. This was put up a month ago, right? Fair Yahweh. I used to be in IUIC. I told them that Nate would switch his tune on Jacob's trouble. So this is a guy who was formerly of the IUIC. I don't know if he's officially part of GMS, but if he wants to be a part of it, he's in the spirit, in that circle, he's in that circle. Whether he's in the camp or not, I don't know. So you do have window shoppers out there. So this, whoever he is, pray that the Most High, that he's one of the elect.
Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
So that's going to be the outcome. We're going to be carrying along like la-di-da, like you're doing now.
So everything going all right.
That's right. War will be going on.
Carnival, excitement, and so on.
Then war will pop off.
So we as a people will not go through an ethnic kind of a persecution.
No,
that won't happen.
Nope.
So how do you explain Daniel 12?
Daniel
12 and verse 1
Yes,
says,
yes. Daniel 12.
there's a time to come, at that time shall arise Michael, the great prince who has charge of your people. This is talking about the Hebrews. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never has been since there was that nation of Israel till that time. But at that time your people shall be delivered, every one whose name shall be written.
Yes.
This prophesies that Israel is going to go through something, a time of trouble such as never was. That means it is supposed to exceed, if we are the Israel, this should exceed slavery. This should exceed any horrors that we had gone through in our history. This is supposed to...
Time of Jacob's trouble. Israel's going to be caught up in it. The elect will be protected. Okay? The other nation, they're going to be caught up in it. Like it's happening now. All this madness is happening in this country. We're not fully in Jacob's trouble, but you can say we're in Jacob's trouble. We're in the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble. So it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it gets worse. So he's saying that no, that we're just going to la-di-da go in the kingdom.
To happen to whoever are the true Israelite people just before the return of Christ. To the point that the archangel Michael will have to stand up for that people called the true Hebrews. And you just said that what we are looking for is not something that will eclipse transatlantic slavery, but a liberation through Christ.
That's right. I'm going to explain it.
But the true Israelites will experience another Holocaust.
No, I'm going to explain it to you. Revelation
Explain
11:11.
Daniel 12:1.
I'm going to explain it. Well, I'm going to explain it with a precept that says the same thing.
Well,
come on. Revelation 11, read quickly.
If we are the true Israelites, then something else according to prophecy is supposed to happen to us on a scale that will surpass what happened in slavery.
Just watch.
All right.
Come on.
The book of Revelation chapter 11 and verse 11. And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from God entered into them.
I like what the pastor just said then. He said, let me see how he gets out of this one now. All right. As you can see, he completely changed his doctrine to what he's saying now. Completely changed it. It's done a complete 180. And you know the worst thing about this? He won't even admit to say, you know what, I was wrong back then and I am right now. He won't admit that.
Yeah, it was just like with Cornelius. They kicked us out because we said Cornelius was an Israelite. He now teaches that Cornelius is not an Edomite, but an Israelite. But he failed to say, oh, by the way, I'd like to apologize to Apostle Tahar and the rest of the apostles. I was wrong. He didn't say that because of his pride.
Because of his pride. Because of his pride. But I love it when the preacher said, let me see you get out of this one now. Just see if I can play it back again.
Revelation chapter 11 and verse 11. And after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of life from God entered into them.
That's us waking up again. This is what you see here. The Spirit of life from God. This is, two witnesses of the two kingdoms.
And they stood upon their feet.
That's what you see now.
And great fear fell upon them which saw them.
Right, because Israel's going to come back together, Judah and Israel. Come on.
Yeah, the fear is the great awakening, especially to the small hats, because now they got to explain, well, if they're saying that they're the people, then who are the people? Will the real Israelites please stand up? That's why I said they lawyer up.
They heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither.
This is what you call the rapture. Come up hither. Watch this.
And they ascended.
Go ahead, read it again.
And they
Should have got
ascended
white man doctrine
up
there,
to
though.
heaven in a
They
cloud,
ascended up to heaven in a cloud, which is a chariot. Here it comes.
Yeah.
and their enemies beheld
Our
them.
enemy's going to see us. Who's the enemies? The white man. Watch this.
Verse 30.
Not just the white man, all the nations, including the 2/3 of Israel. The 2/3 of Israel is talking about not the Israelites scattered throughout the planet, but the Israelites in America, because the destruction is going to come into America. That's why the Lord spoke about salvation. He was talking about in that day you should be saved, salvation, so forth and so on. It's talking about being delivered from the fire that's going to hit Babylon the Great. It's not talking about people in the Solomon Islands and the UK and places like that. Those places are not going to be destroyed. They'll be hit. They'll be damaged. Some of them places. There's going to be neutral countries. So this guy made a statement, and he said that Rome is going to be wiped off the map. Germany's going to be something to that effect. Germany, the European Union is going to be wiped. No. They're not going to be wiped out. They're going to go into captivity. They might get hit. They might get damaged. A lot of places are going to get damaged because the whole earth is going to quake. But the fire, the lake of fire, which now he teaches that it's a spiritual hell, that your soul burns in forever, and that includes Israelites. Back then, he used to teach that the lake of fire is Babylon the Great, which is the U.S. on fire by the Russians shooting the missiles on them. And not just the Russians, any nation that possesses ICBMs, they're going to shoot it on this country.
You missed it.
Come on,
Daniel
ladies,
12.
come on.
And the same hour
And the same hour, meaning the same time that we're taken up,
Yeah.
was there a great earthquake,
meaning destruction.
and
Right?
the 10th part of the city fell.
Meaning the 10th part of the city is going to be destroyed. This is the great thing that Daniel's talking about, which shall never been since the world began.
No, this is
nuclear
saying Israel.
destruction.
This is saying the people.
But it's going to be a time during a time of trouble for Jacob. Jacob's trouble. Hence, Jacob's trouble. And then Michael, which really talking about Yahushua, Michael behind him, and the angels behind Michael.
People of Israel, the people of Israel are going to experience a time of horror and a time of persecution and a time.
Is he familiar with 2nd Ezra? I'm talking about him. 2nd Ezra chapter 16. They shall cast thee out of thy houses. They shall be like madmen, sparing none. That's Jacob's trouble. That's Jacob's trouble.
Where did you see persecution?
That's what it means. And there shall be a time of
Trouble.
trouble for that people, not just
Read this,
generally.
read it,
Listen,
read it,
man.
read it.
There shall be a time of trouble, such as never
never
has been since there was a nation till that time. But at that time, your people shall be delivered. What
Yes.
it means is the
Destruction.
people of Israel had gone through various captivities. They had gone through the destruction. They had gone through captivity by the Assyrians, by the Babylonians, and so on.
Look at that Cheshire cat smile on this guy.
This is prophesied that in the last days, they are going to go through something that would surpass that.
Mr. Boyne.
You don't have that.
Mr. Boyne.
If we are the people, you don't have that in your prophetic
Mr. Boyne.
eschatology.
Leave.
He said, you don't have that in your prophetic eschatology, which means the study of end times.
And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. So the pastor caught him out. He says, you don't have that in your eschatology, right? Because that is the prophecy that the children of Israel are going to go through great tribulations before the second coming of the Lord. That's going to lead us eventually into the war of Armageddon. Then the Lord is going to come. But we are going to face a mighty persecution before nukes are fired on America, before we hit that part where we are in where America's in a nuclear war with Russia. They're going to go through a massive persecution and tribulation, all right? And the pastor's absolutely right. Completely right.
Through something that would surpass that.
Mr. Boyne.
You don't have that.
Mr. Boyne.
If we are the people, you don't have that in your prophetic
Mr. Boyne.
eschatology.
Leave Bible interpretation to us. You don't have it.
That's the pride.
Right, leave Bible interpretation to us. that's going to get you killed. Because what is he going to say? They might throw a chip in there. If you listen to me closely, old moron, I said that they were going to get a chip. And all the zombies are they're going to go with them. So now, let's jump over here to the class. The walls are closing in on this guy. Okay, right here.
Daniel's 12:1. Now he's saying, oh, Daniel's 12:1 is great tribulation. Where back then he said, no, it's not. The pastor asked him clearly, read out the scripture, and he said, no. Let's play that again.
Right there, give me Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1. Daniel 12 and verse 1.
Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people.
Michael is one of the archangels. This is not talking about Christ like this simple, not Jehovah's Witness. What do they call? Seventh-day disadvantage say. This is actual Michael archangel. Go ahead.
And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book.
So this time of trouble, you say that, and there shall be such a time of trouble. That's saying the same thing Jeremiah 30 verse 7 says. It's saying the same.
What does Jeremiah 30 verse 7 say? It said there shall be a time of Jacob's trouble.
In Revelation 7:14 said, where it used the word tribulation, Deuteronomy 4:30, they're all saying the same thing, and it's promising that the people of the Lord shall be delivered. Give me Jeremiah 28 verse 8.
Jeremiah chapter 28 verse 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence.
So Jeremiah the prophet prophesied as well of what it say, great of war, evil, and pestilence. Write that down. War, evil, and pestilence. I need you to get your pens and paper and take good notes on this spot right here. Take good notes on what I'm about to go over now. So what does Jacob's trouble, which is great tribulation, consist of? Let's go to Ezekiel 14 and verse 21. Sounds like I'm losing my voice. Ezekiel 14 and verse 21.
Ezekiel chapter 14 verse 21. For thus saith the Lord God, how much more when I send my four sore judgments upon Jerusalem, the sword and the famine and the noisome beast and the pestilence, to cut off from it man and beast.
So next to Jacob's trouble is great tribulation. Next to Ezekiel 14:21 in your notebook, write down those four words: sword, famine, noisome beast, and pestilence. I want to highlight noisome beast just for this moment here. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32 and verse 21 about the noisome beast.
So now he's admitting that Jacob's trouble is going to be the sword, the famine, the noisome beast, troubles and tribulation. So I say again, meddle not with them that are given to change. Now, if he had come now and say, look, I was wrong back then, and I'm making a correction now, what Jacob's trouble, what Daniel's 12:1 was all about, then that would be fine. No one would have any arguments with this guy. No one would have any disputes with this guy regarding his doctrine and what he teaches. What he does, he changes his doctrine over time, and then he says he never said that in the first place. And then you have to go back and find the videos where he actually did.
I just want to get to the point where he says calls us more.
Asked about were we in Jacob's trouble? I said no. And
when we was in Jacob's trouble, let me do this. These are receipts, bro.
You know, about 5 years ago, when I was in Jamaica, brothers, how y'all doing this Sabbath day? Sisters, how y'all doing? Good, all praises, all praises. Today we're going to discuss Jacob's trouble. We're going to discuss Jacob's trouble. You know, about 5 years ago, when I was in Jamaica, I was asked about were we in Jacob's trouble. I said no. And because about 5, 6, 7 years ago, there was really not too much going on. And an idiot bum camp decides to do video after video saying that I don't believe the scriptures where it talks about Jacob's trouble in Jeremiah.
So you heard what the clown said, right? You heard what the blockhead just said. So we got him on receipts. And he said the idiot bum camp. Well, if we're bums, you're supposed to reach out to us and help us. Since you got 4 million or 150 million, whatever the hell you get. I know you get 200,000 a week for salary. Fuck, what you? That's a whole lot of fucking money, bro. No, what is it? 4,000 a week. This guy gets a salary of 4,000 a week from that thing. He's a mega profit preacher, man. This guy got the wool pull over all you guys' eyes. But I'm glad he mentioned. He didn't say GMS. He just said the idiot bum camp. Kept bringing up, meaning rebuked them sharply. He didn't say these other camps. He didn't say Sakari. Sakari wasn't really that big at that time, but ISUPK or whatever other former one was, we were the ones that said he was going off on that. So 5 years later, he had to reverse himself.
You can't make this.
Like he said, some guys told me that, somebody said that I force people to eat pork. That's what you told me over the phone. So you saying you never said that? Hey, like Alonzo said in Training Day, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. I can't prove it. I don't have a videotape, so you can either take my word or call me a liar.
Stuff up. So as of late, there's been a rise in sickness, disease, economic.
And that idiot bump camp that he's talking about are GMS Great Millstone. So to my fellow bums out there, to my fellow GMS bums out there, we salute you who are ready to die for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and for the truth of this doctrine. We salute you bums and you fellow bums that are teaching the 100% truth, right?
And we do that, we jumped on you is because we ain't with that stay in your lane camp. Well, you just teach this thing and that. So if somebody says, what does this mean? Because IUIC, well, I can't say nothing because I got to stay in my lane. Where's that in the scripture? Where's that in the scriptures, man? And another thing, we are the sentinels. What is the job of a sentinel? If we're going off, it's your job, if you're a man of the Lord, to say GMS is going off on this scripture. Like the grape thing. They made a big deal about the grape thing, and they don't know because they don't go into the Hebrew. They're not scholars. They don't have a scholarly bone in them. A scholar would go into the Greek and into the Hebrew and into maps and all that other. And which he's starting to do that now. He goes to the commentary, which he bit from me, the Bible Hub. He bit that from me. Okay. What I say I was gonna do? Where the fuck did I say I was gonna go? Matter of fact, let me just come back over here.
Because that was directly directed at Great Millstone. But we...
Oh, sentinels. That's right. Sentinels, meaning a soldier or guard.
Here's the definition of sentinel: a soldier or guard whose job is to stand and keep watch.
So that's it. What does it say in Isaiah? Let's go to that. So if another camp teaching something wrong, it's our job to say that those guys are teaching that wrong. And that applies to us too. If we're saying something wrong and they see the truth, they say GMS is going off on that. Then it might be a back and forth. So let me see. What am I going to do? Oh, Isaiah, right? Isaiah 65. Is it 65 or 65, if I'm not mistaken? Or 62. 62. So I'm going to prove to you that we're also sentinels. I have set watchmen, which is what another word for a watchman is, sentinel, upon thy walls, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem is a people before us, a place which shall never hold their peace day nor night. If you're going off on something, it's our job to say he's going off on that. The true breakdown is this. Ye that make mention of Yahweh, keep not silent. So this verse is saying don't stay in your lane. You got to go out your lane and correct somebody else. We're like this highway patrol. If somebody's speeding, it's a highway patrol job to pull the guy over. So a highway patrol guy, police officer, a state trooper, whatever, he's a sentinel. He's to keep order and give him no rest till he establish, until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. So we just prove he's a liar. As Judge Milian would say, the People's Court, the Manassite woman, I think she said, and somebody else said it, she said, once you make one lie, I can assume everything you say, after I catch you in a lie, everything you say after that lie, you're a liar. Well, I didn't lie about this, but you lied about something else. So I can go by the premise, hey, once a prosecuting attorney catches you in a lie, the jury is saying, well, this guy just lied. So is he lying about that too? So you've been established that you're a liar. If you know where I got that from, you're good. What movie I got?
We here, we salute you bums that are teaching the 100% truth and are prepared to die for Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. So let's just continue playing.
Failure and in wars. I want to open up with Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7. Who's reading for me?
So he said 5 years ago.
You see how he speaks? You see how that guy speaks? Fair speeches, deceive the heart of the simple. He's got him. He's speaking in a nice, low voice. And they don't know what's going on. It's going over there.
Right? He said he was interviewed by a Jamaican pastor. And he said that he never ever said that there was going to be a time, that there wasn't going to be a time of Jacob's trouble or tribulation. This is what he said, right?
And we just showed it.
Listen to what he says again, right?
Video after video saying that
hold on, let me go back, sorry.
And were we in Jacob's trouble? I said no.
Hold on.
Pastor said, are we in Jacob's trouble? There'll be a time of Jacob's trouble, and he said no. How do you explain? So when did Jeremiah 30 and 7 take place?
Discuss Jacob's trouble. We're going to discuss Jacob's trouble. You know, about 5 years ago, when I was in Jamaica, I was asked about, were we in Jacob's trouble? I said no. And because about 5, 6, 7 years ago, there was really not too much going on. And an idiot bum camp decides to do video after video saying that I don't believe the scriptures where it talks about Jacob's trouble in Jeremiah.
Yeah, of course, just based upon what you said to the pastor. Okay?
You can't make this stuff up. So as of late, there's been a rise in sickness, disease, economic failure, and in wars. I want to open up with Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7. Who's reading for me?
And you know what? He's going to change his stance on the mark of the beast, or he may change his stance on the mark of the beast when the mark of the beast, well, I said there was no mark of the beast as a chip because nobody was getting a chip 25 years ago. Oh, you moron. But if you listen to me closely, old moron, I said there might be a chip in there. Romans 16, 17, and 18, verses 17, 18 comes to mind all the time. I'm not going to go to it. Y'all should know it by heart. being a bum never felt so good.
Also, Netchumai.
Oh, Netchumai. You sure? Okay, good. You all right, Netchumai? Go ahead, Netchumai.
Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it.
Where's Yori at? Where the hell is Yori? We want Yori. We want Yori.
So we're going to discuss today Jacob's trouble is great tribulation. Jacob's trouble is great tribulation. From there, go to Revelation 7 and verse 14.
Revelation chapter 7, verse 14. And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb.
If you notice, the two verses are saying the same thing that we just read. Jacob's trouble is the great tribulation. And we read, I'll go to Deuteronomy 4, verse 30.
So he says there, Jacob's trouble is the great tribulation, right? Listen carefully. Listen carefully. Now they're declaring that there is going to be a time of Jacob's trouble, right? This is what they're declaring now. Listen to a little bit more.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 30. When thou art in tribulation.
When thou art in tribulation.
And all these things are come upon thee. Even in the latter days.
I want y'all to see that part right there. So Moses spoke prophetically about the great tribulation being in the latter days. Read it again.
When thou art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee, even in the latter days, if thou turn to the Lord thy God, and shall be obedient.
How do you turn to him? By calling on his name, Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai.
Unto his voice.
All right, from right there, give me Daniel chapter 12 and verse 1. Daniel 12 and verse 1.
Listen carefully to the scriptures that he's going to and what he's declaring now, all right? Listen carefully.
Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people.
Michael is one of the archangels. He's not. This is not talking about Christ like this simple, not Jehovah's Witness. What do they call Seventh Day Disadvantage? Say this is actual Michael archangel. Go ahead.
And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book.
So this time of trouble, you say that, and there shall be such a time of trouble. That's saying the same thing Jeremiah 30 verse 7 says. It's saying the same thing Revelation 7:14 said, where it used the word tribulation, Deuteronomy 4:30. They're all saying the same thing, and it's promising that the people of the Lord shall be delivered. Give me Jeremiah 28 verse 8.
So you heard that, right? Clear as day. Now they are declaring that there's going to be a time of Jacob's trouble. He references Daniel 12 and 1, and he references Jeremiah 30 verse 7, which specifically both talk about Jacob's trouble. So now we're going to play what he said roughly, I'd say probably, this video probably was done about 8 years ago, all right? And this also
Deuteronomy 28 showed.
Yeah, so we saw this, right? Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom. On to the next shalom.